All right, so today's question of the day comes from Gene, who asks, hey, I'm 22, bit confused. Should I do a high-paying civilian federal job, save money, and start my own business? Or should I join the military, do 20 years, and start my business? Appreciate your point of view. Appreciate you for asking. And if anybody who's watching, you have a question, let me know in the comment section down below. And so here's the thing. It's okay to be confused. There is no right or wrong answer to this. You can perfectly accomplish the life that you want within the military path or within the civilian path, but not all paths are created equal. And I'm going to be sharing with you some of the things that you should expect based on kind of my opinions and my experiences. And so the thing that I want to say is there is no good, right, or wrong answer here. Only the best possible move you can make within the situation that you're in, right? Because everybody watching here, not all of you come from a same situation. Like my parents are Korean American immigrants. We came to the US. My parents didn't have a lot of money. They worked dry cleaning. They barely made it. And so it was super important for me to start a business, try to make a lot of money. And so I was able to do that. And they're not educated. So they weren't able to guide me properly on what I should do academically. And so it made no sense for me at that point. But for some people come from a very good, white collar, blue collar background with a college degree. They're able to explain to their son or daughter as to why they should go to college and get a good job, right? So like there is different situations. So not everybody's situation is created equal. And so the thing that you can expect, right? So like my personal journey, from 2015 to 2020, I was in the military. I saved money and I invested and made 140K. In 2020 to 2023, I was in the military. I started up a business and made 300K. And so the thing that I prioritize is having a foundation. What is a foundation? Solid source of income. Because before you build anything, whether it's actually having a family or starting a business, you need predictable income. When you think about all these big businesses who have subscription models, the reason why they have subscription is because they need a solid source of income to be able to build their empire on. And so for you, you have to think about which will give me a good solid source of foundation. And so for me, I would not have been able to accomplish what I was able to accomplish had I not joined the military. Why? Because like I said, my parents don't come from a college background. I was not educated and didn't value college. My parents were suffering. I needed to help make them money. And so money was a priority for me. And I started a business and I joined the military to continue to walk that path. It's not to say that it was right or wrong, because if I had focused on school and took a different path, I believe I would have been able to accomplish just the same, right? But within that situation that I was in when I was 22, when I thought about joining the military, I made the best decision with the information at hand for me, and that was it. Um, and so here's the thing, right? If the goal is to start a business, start a business, I imagine you want to start a business because you want to make money, have a good life for your family, and also enjoy a lifestyle of your own. And so when I think about it, I think about which path will help me get there in terms of quickness, safe, as well as with a strong foundation. And so the pros and cons, right? When you have a high-paying civilian job, I think about, well, you're able to make 100K, 120K, 140K, 160K. In the military, you're not able to do that, right? I started out as an E1 making like $800 per paycheck, $1,600 per month. Within a year, that's like maybe 20 grand, right? Like you're just not going to be able to out earn civilians when you're in the military. But there are also cons to this path, which is a lot of internships, right? To be able to get these high paying jobs, you have to do internships. You have to get a higher degree. It's very, very competitive out there. There is no guarantee that you'll be able to make this type of income. But if you are able to get a lot of internships, get a lot of experience, get a master's degree, and stay competitive, you will be able to get these type of jobs. But also there is no guarantee because the company could lay you off, right? Along with that, one of the guarantee is there's a lot of college debt. And so there is pros and cons to these paths, right? And here's the military path. It's easy, right? You don't make a lot of money, but it's easy. There's a guarantee, there's a health benefit. I'm not to say when I say health benefit, when you work a corporate job, you also have just as much as of a health benefit. But in the military, um, basically you don't have to think about it, right? In the civilian world, you have to think about it. It's like, cool, what's my copay? What's my deductible? What's all this stuff? What if I get a big medical accident? Oh, I have to worry about all this thing out of pocket. How much does that cost? But in the military, everything's covered. You don't have to think about it. So there's a lot less mental bandwidth that goes into this. And also, it's extremely safe, right? You're guaranteed a position and a steady source of income. But at the same time, just understand it's not as much because of the guarantees, because it's less mental bandwidth. But the cons are not a lot of money, unstable time commitment, right? You're not able to spend, it's not predictable. In a civilian corporate setting, it's very predictable as to how many hours you will work, right? Because you can get a corporate job where you work 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours. In the military, it's kind of like off the fly. It's whatever they want to do for that week, for that moment. You don't really have a lot of control. You can't just quit. In the civilian world, you can. In the military, you can't, or else you go to jail and you're screwed. And so there's pros and cons that you need to consider. And so let me add a little bit more context to the clarity. So when I say quicker, safer foundation wise, to me, the definition of quicker is which provides more resources, capital to help me get there. At the end of the day, it's just getting a civilian job, right? And it also depends on the degree and the company, right? Like you don't want to get a philosophy degree and try to work at a major bank. It doesn't make any sense. You have to get like a banking degree or a some type of business degree and try to work at a big bank. And then you'll get paid like 120, 130, 140K, right? I have one of my friends has a master's degree in like, computer science or engineering or something like that. He gets paid 160K and he's like 4 years younger than me. He's doing very, very well for himself. He gets paid a lot of money, right? Like that is the benefit of having gone through this path of like internships, master's degrees, being competitive and being able to be in the situation. But like I said, not a lot of people get to be in this position, right? A lot of people are more so struggling or just making just enough. And so um, if you are trying to start a business though, you want to be competitive, right? You want to put in hustle, put in a lot of grind. If that is what the path that you want to walk, well, then maybe the civilian job makes more sense, right? Because it is quicker in that sense. But here's the thing, what's safer? What if it doesn't pan out? Right? Like, I want you to understand this is a genuine thing, right? Because when I was in the military, I felt invincible. I was making 10 grand a month being with my military income and my business. But now that I'm not in the military anymore, I don't have that solid foundation. My income does fluctuate. There are some months where I make like 3 or 4 grand, and some months I make like 15 grand, right? Like it fluctuates. And when you're in the high, you think it's going to go forever, but when you're in the low, it's like, man, I feel like this is too chaotic, right? Like the thing that wins here is the military. It's guaranteed. You're gonna get a steady source of income on the first and the 15th of every single month. There is no question about it. And then here's the foundation: health, wealth, love, and fulfillment. Health to me is physical and mental, which will provide you a better physical and mental capacity. It's a civilian world, right? You might think, well, it's the military, but yeah, military physical sense, okay. But mentally, no, because in the military, you can't just walk away. If you don't like your superior, if you don't like the situation that you're in, you can't walk away. In the civilian world, you can, right? In the military, you can't really get the help that you need. In the civilian world, you can. And in the wealth wise, the way I categorize wealth is current and future. Am I able to maintain my current lifestyle as well as build something for the future? In terms of stability, wealth wise, military does provide a little bit more of an edge, I would say. If you were able to have a level of guarantee that you're going to get a high paying job and that job was going to be there forever, like if you were going to be a data analyst or a, web developer for Google, right? I would say your wealth is probably better in the civilian side, but it's just getting there. There is no guarantee. It's not as safe. It's very competitive. But here, everybody, it's very predictable. It's very same. Like your E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6. Everybody goes up to the same ladder. Some people just study a little bit harder, get there quicker, but like, it's pretty much there. Love, family, friends, romance. Family wise, Can you have a good family life? No. In the military? No. Right? It's very, very tough to have a good family life in the military. Why? Because of your unstable schedule, right? Like I said, um, you're not like time commitment. There is no stable time commitment in the military. That's why you're not able to spend time with your spouse correctly. The divorce rate in the military is drastically a lot higher compared to the civilian world. You're able to have a pretty good friends, right, in civilian world as well as the military. Romance wise, it's probably pretty much the same, military civilian wise. But I would say love life wise, like within the foundation, I would say it's better in the civilian side. Fulfillment, spiritual, like if you're religious, as well as impact, you're able to do something impactful, a job that you enjoy. You don't really get a control of that in the military. I would say it's you have more control within the civilian side. And so I would say like foundational wise, civilian is much better. But like these are the things that I would consider for you, right? Like there is no right or wrong answer to what I'm sharing with you. These are some of the things that you should consider when you are trying to walk this path. Now, let me give you something more concrete, right? Here's my thoughts if I was in your position with what I know now, because I've walked that path, right? I've not done too well in the civilian world. I joined the military. I had nothing. I made a lot of money in the stock market as well as the business. And now I'm out of the military and I have a corporate job, right? Like theoretically, I've checked all the boxes. So here's what I would personally do and recommend. If you're not in a very good background, situation, family upbringing, it's good to join the military and stabilize the foundation. And the foundation that I'm thinking is more on the current and the future wealth side of things. When you're young, your family and your friends don't matter as much. It's important, but it doesn't matter as much because there's time on your side. Not to say that they might die, but like assuming that they live, right? Like you have time on your side, you have to stabilize your current financial situation and start building towards your future generational wealth. And so joining the military will help you stabilize that. Then maximize the military career, network within the civilians and everybody that you meet within the military with the goal of networking into a high paying job after your 4 and 8 year mark. Right? There are plenty of people that I know after their time in the military are able to get 60, 70, 80, 90 grand paying jobs, paying $35 an hour, whatever it is, because they knew just the right person, right? So you don't have to do necessarily full 20. You can still enjoy best of both worlds. And then work your ass off to get an associate's or a bachelor's within your time in the military. This is extremely hard, right? As somebody who's kind of like been in the situation, it's extremely hard to do. Um, like I know one of my friends who joined the military and he got his associates and his bachelor's and he got a high paying job. He took that path. For me, I took the other path of starting a business. It's not to say his path was right or my path was right. There's always pros and cons to each path. And so the thing what I'm trying to tell you to do is do everything. Be greedy. Be very, very intentional. Be very, very focused. And then start a business. And what the business that I personally recommend is just social media, YouTube, documenting your life. Be a social media influencer, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. Build a brand where you document the life that you live within the military, help people along the way, show how you're getting a bachelor's degree, show how you're growing a YouTube audience, tell your story, because you're not able to like start like a physical retail business. You're not able to start a massive enterprise, but it's a lot easier to start a business, make just as much money documenting your life on YouTube while you're maximizing your military career on a path to get a high paying civilian job, right? So you can kind of technically, within this recommendation that I'm giving you, do it all. You don't have to make a sacrifice. And so this all stems from the circumstance that you're in. I don't know what the situation is, but if I was in the situation that you're in with everything that I know, this is the path that I would take. Hope it helps. Peace.